Hello everyone. I started tea time with a tie. That was the first one. I am now wearing a TikTok sweatshirt, which is not something I control, unfortunately. Hello everyone. This is the 10th tea time. Time flies indeed. We have been announcing quite a lot of stuff over the last few weeks, and I am super excited for this one because we don't have any guest, but we have a lot to talk about. So I will start by saying that we started with the War in the East 2 intro trailer. We wanted to start off with something a bit different, like a different start for a change. As you know, War in the East 2 releases next week. We're in the middle of pre-orders. The pre-orders are going super well. We're very excited about how things are going. So we wanted to sort of show you the intro trailer just before we actually release it officially, and I am super excited about it. This is a little bit of an homage to an old way of doing trailers for games, intros for games, and I remember, I was working a long time ago. I was working for IDOS, and we were doing a video for Commandos 2, and this is something like, along the lines of what we did for that trailer back in the days. So I was very excited when we were working on it. So that was for War in the East 2. Before we talk about the release of the day, Panzer Corps 2 Axis Operations 1941, it's a Thursday, so it's a release day. Let's bring up the chart with the release schedule. I think that's the bit we owe you. So as I said, today, Panzer Corps 2 Axis Operations 1941. We have a couple of dates we added to this. We will release Close Combat Modern Tactics on April 15th on Steam. This is going to be a Steam release. As you know, the game is already available on Matrix and on GOG.com. We're going to release it on Steam. So if you actually own the game on our site, you'll be able to redeem the Steam key and complete your Close Combat collection. I think that's the last Close Combat we needed to release on Steam to complete the set. So this is going to come out on April 15th. We also have an official release date for Warplan Pacific, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment. And we also have an addition to this calendar here. The Master of Magic, Caster of Magic for Windows, actually it's duplicated there. We actually added to the release schedule here. It's probably going to release around April sometime, at the latest in May. The game, as you know, is in beta right now. If you want to subscribe, we had a little bit of a trouble with installers, but it's all fixed. So you should be able to subscribe and play it on the beta right now. Any of you played the DLC? Which DLC are you talking about there? CC is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, we really always wanted to bring all the Close Combat games to Steam, but it's a long and convoluted process. So we are glad we finally made it. We finally made it for all the Steam owners. And I'm happy that we could achieve that. As going back to Warplan Pacific. Now, as you know, we've seen Warplan Pacific last week for the first time. Very excited about what Alvaro has put together with this new release. We now know the game is releasing on April 29th. This is the official release date. And we have a little bit of a long explanatory video for you. This is a first in a series of, I think, 4 or 5 videos explaining some of the core mechanics of Warplan Pacific, narrated by Alvaro directly, but cut in a way that, it's sort of used as a marketing asset as well. So you'll know more about the game. So play that now and then come back and we can go look at Panzer Corps straight away.
Hi, this is Alvaro Souza, developer of Warplan and Warplan Pacific. In this video, we're going to cover the rule changes from Warplan Europe to Warplan Pacific. Some of it will be the same because it got retrofitted back, but some of it will be new. So if I missed something, please forgive me. We're going to start off with the advancements. What I did here is I combined the two anti-submarine warfare advancements for escorts and planes into one now. So you only have to worry about one advancement. I thought it was unfair that players have to invest twice the amount of points in the same thing. With that, the technology I got rid of, I replaced it with amphibious operations. What this does is that depending on the year of your technology, you take a penalty for invading a hex. So in this case, if the Japanese land with a unit that has 100% effectiveness, they drop down to 75%. The loss is by ratio, so if they were at 50% effectiveness when they land, they would lose 13%, and go down to about 37.5. This makes early invasions harder and late invasions more difficult. Some unit changes. The Japanese have a specific ability called the Jungle Fighter. With the Jungle Fighter, they disregard 80% of a jungle's penalty when they attack. The United States has a special Marine unit. The Marine unit is stronger than a typical division, takes 3 times the logistics of as an infantry division, but has stronger stats. Marines can move from beach to beach. So unlike regular units, they can't move from a hex like this to a hex like that. There's water over here. The tile is not connected. But a Marine unit can move from this hex to this hex, then move here, then to this hex. So it is possible in some of these island chains for a unit to land in Buin, move here, then Munda, then here, then travel down to Henderson Field, walking its way across, taking all these ports. I also made some changes to the values of different naval units. The United States carrier groups, main carrier groups, had better damage control, so their defense and their anti-aircraft are higher. The Japanese had weaker anti-air and weaker damage control, so their defense and AA are lower. The United Kingdom carriers have a higher defense due to their armored decks. Japanese cruisers have a higher surface due to their long-range torpedoes. American submarines start off horrible with a 1 surface as a base, but they do increase over time as they fix all the problems that they initially had. Now, advancements still increase their surface value, but they're at a major disadvantage early in the war. So be careful with them. China has a new set of rules with it. Since the Chinese army was not motorized, I incorporated foot army rule, which means for maintenance, none of their units use any oil. This includes nationalist and communist units. They do have an oil resource that they produce way back here, and that is for flying planes. So they have 1 plane in the game. They could build more. They also get resources in different ways. The air hump, as detailed in the turn reports, or in the reports over here, which they get +1 oil if the Allies control Lido and Kunming, and this the air convoy delivers its resources to China. The Lido Road, which becomes active on May 45, which delivers production and oil to the Chinese. Convoy runs through Calcutta to Kunming using Northern Railroad path, going through Lido. If the Axis occupy any path of these resources are not delivered. They also have the Burma Road, which will pretty much get easily cut off, which runs like this in the opening stages of the game. So these are the effects of China. China has really horrible, horrible troops, absolutely terrible, but it is going to be very difficult for them to conquer as the Japanese.
So as you see, we're trying to give you always a different type of content for every tea time. I think that this way of tackling the different new features on Warplan Pacific, but also explaining how the game plays out, are a cool way to understand the game more and maybe, you know, raise some questions. One of the things that I've seen in the last week's stream with Alvaro in the chat answering questions is that there's a lot of different very varied questions. So it's very hard to sort of identify one area or the other one to tackle in these videos. So if you have like suggestions on that, like if you want to see some specific areas of the game covered in one of the future ones, let us know, because we might want to sort of dive into specific subjects that you suggest, instead of just us like guessing what are the different things that you would like to know about the game. Panzer Corps Axis Operation 1941 is now out everywhere, hopefully everywhere. I know it's out on our site, it's out on Steam. It's also Panzer Corps 2 birthday today. It was released a year ago now, so it's a celebration for us. We released Panzer Corps 2 at the beginning of our lockdown, thinking it was going to be somewhat short. We're here a year after, still in a lockdown, but with 4 DLCs and one very successful launch under our belts. We are very happy about Panzer Corps and how it's performed, how it was received by the players. We have huge plans for Panzer Corps. We started off with the Axis Operations campaign, and we are, you know, proud that we could start with what, you know, most of the players were expecting. But we're also looking into the future of Panzer Corps. You know, we're always thinking, okay, what's happening with this, you know, in a year's time, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time. So there's a lot of planning going on, and we are in the middle of planning, you know, the future of the franchises. So again, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, what do you want to see in the future of Panzer Corps? You know, we'll put some polls out. We'll ask you directly, but you know, give us the suggestions, because we're all ears and we want to hear from you. What is your vision of Panzer Corps going into the future? You know, just to give an example, we released Gladius in 2017. I think it was July. And you know, the number of copies we sold of Gladius in the first year and Panzer Corps in the first year is about the same, right? What I can say is that Gladius's best year has been last year. It's been by far the best year for the franchise, and the franchise has now gone well over 1 million copies. We are super happy about, you know, how healthy it is and how, you know, how it will be projected in the future. We are just at the very beginning of that process for Panzer Corps, and we're super excited to, you know, plan the future with the community. So it's absolutely in your hands if you think you can, you want to contribute to the shape how the future of Panzer Corps is shaping up. Mark just doesn't want to hear himself talk too much. Yeah, that's maybe one of the reasons. Yes. More DLCs for Gladius. You absolutely yes, they are going to come. The next one we are going to announce in the coming weeks, not far from now. So stay tuned for that. As time goes by, sales come up and people buy games at reasonable prices. I don't think it's all about that. It's the fact that you know, Gladius is a different beast altogether. So you know, we can't really compare. We're just trying to sort of, you know, frame things around the subject. But Gladius is okay. You know, I've got the main game, but I also want to play with the Eldars. So, and the Eldars are just released. So it's time now for me now to buy, you know, Gladius, and that's how also a Warhammer 40k game grows over the time, right? You can't put everything in the game on day one. Also, On Panzer Corps, we know we start with a game that's only playable with the German side, so that's one of the reasons why, of course, the game will grow over the years. But it's not only that; it's it's the fact that the games get better over time as well. We don't just sit on a product and add content to it; we just improve things. So, for instance, you're now able to subscribe to the very first Panzer Corps 2 tournament now. So if you go on the slitherine.com/tournaments page, you will see that you can subscribe to the first tournament. It's a beta tournament, so there will be stuff we need to assess as we go, but it's definitely one of the steps into the future, right? And we really wanted this tournament system to be an integral part of the future of the game. So there's going to be a lot of tournament stuff going on. Make sure that we deliver more tournaments as we go and more varied tournaments. Our tournaments are based on specific maps. There's various modes we can run tournaments on. So make sure that you test it out. Help us perfect the system so that we can then articulate more on the tournament system as we go. Sister of Battle, Dark Eldar, there's many factions that we'd like to see, but these two are definitely ones that we're looking at the moment, and there's actually more ideas on the table as well. Co-op mode, Panzer Corps 2 is great. It is, and I think it's one of the things that the developers at Flashback are putting more effort into, perfecting these multiplayer modes. Absolutely. Will Fog 2 eventually be rebranded to Will of Glory 2 Ancients? Not really, no, nor Mordante. We don't have a plan. We actually talked about it, but rebranding something like 125 different store pages and an enormous amount of marketing assets would cost us entire weeks of work, and we'd better use these weeks into something else. So we won't be rebranding Field of Glory to Field of Glory Ancients. Did I miss any discussion on Distant Worlds 2 Universe? No, you did not miss anything. Distant Worlds 2 Universe is well under beta now. We're going to launch a new wave of beta. I think it's next week or the week after. We've been flooded by reports. So Eric Rutins and the guys at Code Force are working super hard into the bug list and the features list as well. So that's been worked on. Panzer Corps, when you make Soviet campaign, well, in terms of priority, I mean, Soviet campaign will come as well as Allied campaign, as well as many other things that you expect. Very much is going to be down to the potential of the different DLCs and how they will improve the game on their own, as we go. All right, so DLCs bring new features because new factions bring new needs in terms of gameplay. So as we go, there is a pattern, like we want to evolve the game in a certain way, but we also want to make sure that the players get what they want. So it's a balance between these two elements. How's Medieval DLC coming along? Very well, very nicely. I can tell you we're going to announce a DLC for Medieval, not next week, the week after. I think it's on Monday or Tuesday, something like that. But I may be wrong, but it's not next week, it's the week after we're announcing it. What is my favorite war game? Gosh, that's a hard question. I can't say because I work with 54 different active developers. I don't want to say anything wrong about somebody else's game. So probably my favorite war game is something that's very old and not very live right now. I'd say my if Master of Magic is not a 4X game, is a war game, that would be my favorite game. Well, my favorite strategy game actually. Is production on schedule for Starship Troopers? Yes, it is. We have now. We are now feature complete, I would say, or close to feature complete on Starship Troopers. So we're soon going to show the game in action, like not in a video, but in action. How diplomatic? Yes, I am. That's why I'm in marketing. And right, so before, no, I'm not. This is not fashion. This is like the spoiler is that we got this sweatshirt from TikTok, and I thought it was just fun to wear it. But I swear the next week I'll be wearing something a bit more appropriate. For the release of Warplan PzC2, just not to make it like things are just like super weird. So yeah, so I was saying one of the news I wanted to give you on Panzer Corps 2 is that we haven't managed to finalize the builds for Epic, so we've delayed the release on Epic 1 or 2 weeks now. It's going to be the final date will be announced very soon, but you know, between amongst all the things we had to do to complete the release of this and the patch for main game and the tournament system, we decided that, you know, it was better to release on Epic when the game was, you know, ready to be released on Epic. So we decided to postpone that. I'm not dancing. If there's one thing I can't do at all is dancing. And right, a camo print for next generation, maybe, who knows, pink camo. Right, so before we go to more questions, I want to go through very quickly a couple of very important things. We have announced on the site, but if you own Shadow Empire, I urge you to download the art pack done by PzC2. This is a game that's been receiving a lot of mods and a lot of attention by a lot of very cool content people, but this art pack is absolutely awesome, so we decided to make a news out of it. And there is going to be a stream of Shadow Empire played with this super cool art pack on Friday at 8 p.m. by our friend Das. This is planned, yes, this is planned for tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. This is really cool, and if you don't own Shadow Empire, go buy it. It's an absolute fantastic game. Yeah, here you see on the screen you see the modded stratagems from the game. They're super cool. And for a final news, I wanted to share some very cool things. We've picked up on Battlestar Galactica Deadlock photo mode. There's a guy on Twitter, mainly on Facebook as well, called Ghost in the Camera, and he's done with the photo mode on Battlestar Galactica. He's done some amazing artwork. Can you put that full screen, Bruno? I want to give this absolute maximum visibility because this is awesome. He's done a fantastic job just out of a thing that's in the game. And of course, you need some skills to do these things. You just don't download them from the internet. But it's absolutely fantastic. And we wanted to give the Ghost in Camera here a big shout out for doing such an amazing job at promoting the photo mode, first of all, but also you know, highlighting how many cool things you can do with the game. So thank you, Ghost. You've been doing a great job. No, Pixel, these are edited. Yes, you actually, you know, on the photo mode, you can actually do some filtering, but this is done by him with a flat image though. So it's there's quite a lot of, I think there's quite a lot of work behind these things, but you know, the core comes from the game. So absolutely. FOG 2 just released a patch. Yes, absolutely yes. So do we have a list of the future streams, Bruno? We do the usual passing of the information. So Edmund will stream Panzer Corps 2 1941 when we finish this. After this, we'll have XTRG playing Warplan PCC2. So our two, it's a World War II day today. Combat mission Black Sea tomorrow with Richard York. Again, Shadow Empire played with the Pimus art pack by Das Tactic tomorrow at 8 p.m. And on Saturday, should I or should I not say that there is a traditional command session with Kushan at 6 p.m. So if we have another few minutes, if you want to shout out any question or ask anything, I'm here to answer. And if not, I will be leaving you to play Panzer Corps 2 Access Operation 1941 and to Edmund's stream. I have to say next week we have the release of War in the East and a couple of interesting announcements and any news on Campaign Series Vietnam. Actually, yes, Lander. If you go on the Matrix Games forum, there's quite a lot of new screenshots. There's a lot of cool things done with the editor on the maps that Jason has posted. As you know, Jason is also cartographer on War in the East, so he's got plenty of talents, but he's actually done a very good couple of very good posts recently on Campaign Series Vietnam. We don't have a release date yet. It's most probably going to release this year. I couldn't swear on it, but there's a lot of chances that game is releasing this year. So yes, Hexabu. I wish you were, but I'm happy you're not telling the truth here, because that'd be weird. We still owe you a cup, by the way, a mug, Hexabu. So we swear this is coming to you very soon. All right, so. Guys, it was good to see you again. Next week, of course, at same time, same day. Make sure you are tuned in, and the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. After War in the East 2 release, there's going to be a couple of weeks with no releases, but with big announcements. So stay tuned, and I will see you next week.
Panzer Corps 2 Axis Operations continues the grand campaign with the most critical year of the war, 1941. This year featured the invasion of the Balkans, of Greece, and of the Soviet Union. Axis Operations 1941 will bring this year to life with war-defining battles both known and obscure. To bring this year to life, we're including some exciting new features, new muddy terrain tiles and weather, new units and models, new look Russian infantry, new Romanian tanks, a new British tank, and the ability to construct airfields with a new airfield construction vehicle. That will be sure to come in handy on the barren steppes of Russia. Returning in this DLC are all of your favorite features from the previous DLCs, including importing your core army, Axis miners, commendation points, special prototypes, new heroes, caches, and more. There is now also tournament support for multiplayer, so if you haven't checked out our multiplayer community before, there's never been a better time. Panzer Corps 2 Axis Operations 1941 is out now.